Oh boy, this one's been a long time coming. Beyond counting are the times that you've requested me to remake these mounts, and at last I deliver. Because, my friends, I updated the Forsaken horses. Starting with the base mount, I went to work updating the 3D model. I first did its head, which involved me separating its jaw from its skull, because although there is both comedic and artistic value in its current little lip flap, this is 2024 and we can do better. Next, I worked my way down the spine, where I, you guessed it, redid the spine, turning this singular long slurve into something more closely resembling vertebrae. Although the hair would cover some of these, so those would later be fused again to save polys. In an effort to please the anatomy gods, I would make the places bones meet up look like bones are meeting up. Additionally, my horse has hairy legs, so I made sure to give the mesh some nice wavy pointy shapes that will create a nice silhouette to follow once I plunge into the intimidating task of painting the fur onto my horsey friend. By the way, this might be a bit late, but I still want to say it. I hope everyone had a wonderful time during the holidays, and I wish you all the best for 2024. I had a ton of fun making these videos over the past year, and had a blast getting to interact with you guys. So, here's to another year like it. I have big plans that I'm looking forward to spending many long days on. I also want to get more into streaming and start a second channel, where I can do some other random stuff without my subscribers going, why is the art monkey suddenly doing non-art things? Now back to that dead horse. I have a lot to say about this mount. First and foremost, it's cool. Yeah, I really like it. Not even talking about the epic version here, which I'll be making in a little bit. I'm just talking about the slow one. It doesn't have any gimmicks. Nothing where the designer felt they had to add some kind of unnecessary feature to make it stand out from being just a dead horse. Nope, besides some simple Forsaken style embellishments, it's just a rudimentary dead horse, and I love dead horses. As the armor was coming along, I went from feature to feature, recreating the design of the original in my fancy new 2024 worthy poly count. Since I do not believe in efficiency, I'm redoing them all in a single video. The unfortunate thing here is that almost everything I make for the base mount will be hidden in the epic version, but not the armor bits, so I had better make sure they look good. I finished the modeling part, after which I carried out the laborious process of UV mapping it. UV mapping small things is easy and fast, but this is a big thing, so I was unhappy for a bit. There's also rigging. Also kinda sucks, but not that much. Yeah. My wonderful friends, big and small, this takes us to that beautiful moment, where I unveil my updated 3D dead horse. Nice. On to the hard part. I like experience painting dead stuff, but I wanted to go in confident. So I went to Maldraxxus, looked at some things, and found out what bones look like. I took this newly gained knowledge, put pen to tablet, and went to battle. As always, I started out by breaking up the different materials. After which I went ahead and painted in the basic tones for the body of the horse. After which it was time for bones. As a material, painting bone had a learning curve to it, which is why the front leg might look distinctly more ugly than the hind leg, considering that's the one I did first. Always nice when a piece tells a story. I talked in my MacLeod video about wanting to practice texturing creatures. Like I've said before, painting isn't just one skill. There are many different facets that you kinda just have to go through one by one. And indeed, this also includes different materials. This horse did not contain just one, but two such materials that I've never done before. As far as those two go, bone was probably the least intimidating one for me, when bones are so spooky in nature. Next, it was time for the base coat of my saddle, giving it a metal rim, with another purple rim thingy underneath, to make it match the modern Forsaken aesthetic. Painting cloth, specifically folds, is something I also feel like I'm a lot better at nowadays than I used to be. I'd like to say that I practice this an exercise of pure masculine discipline, painting it again and again until I vomit it, but I'll be honest and say that I opted for the alternative method of looking over at my bed sheets. Remember me saying bone wasn't the scary thing about this project? Correct. It was fur that compromised my bowel control. What you're seeing here is not my first, nor second or third, but my fourth attempt at painting fur. The first three were two failed and one kinda successful attempt done on the mains. It is essential that you're deluded into thinking I'm capable, and the footage kinda sucked a lot, so I cut out the bad attempts. Here's something I have done before, me painting metal. Still only a base coat, but this is one of those painfully rare parts of this mount that is there in both the slow version and the epic version, so I'll be damned if I rush this of all things. Speaking of rushed, the anatomy of that front hip bit you see there ended up being some bullshit. I know, it is what it is. But I hope it's compensated for by A, doing a good job on these raggedy drapes, and B, you hopefully knowing jack shit about horses. Besides, I do think these rags turn out kinda nice. The stitchy pattern and the dirtiness towards the bottom, I like it. Being an artist these days means either cancelling Asmongold or sucking it up and adapting to unfortunate realities. And adapting to the cultural shift the WoW community has seen in recent years, I made sure the ass on this animal looks pleasing. And as I moved along steadily, I continued painting the different parts of the model until they were crisp enough to be deserving of your wonderful eyeballs to be laid upon them. I'll leave some stuff like color correction until after I'm done painting, so things might look a bit mismatched. And I tend to not show you the very final stages of painting, because I like to keep things fun for the reveal. And you having stared at the result for half a minute takes some punch out of it. Am I talking too much? Yes. So my dear friends, behold. Now before I make the legendary Warhorse that we're all really here for, a word from our wonderful sponsor. Starforge PCs, the best PCs in the universe. White glove service and premium build quality, Starforge offers PCs at a variety of price points so that you will find just what you need. But it doesn't end there. Oh no, it gets even more special. Because right now, you have the opportunity to become the proud owner of their latest limited edition build, the Outer Space. Their most ambitious limited build yet. It features the Hyde Y70 touch case, an MSI liquid-cooled 490 Supreme, an i9 14900K, and not to mention the sweet custom panel art. Oh, don't mind if I do. It's powerful, it's unique, it's exclusive, and guess what, if you're quick, it could be yours. Thank you to Starforge for the sponsorship, and thank you to Asmongold. Updating the epic Warhorse started with modeling a drape for the existing body of my horsey friend, a task which certainly never leads to frustration because it's never annoying, never causes issues, and most certainly never causes clipping. The bottoms are damaged because this thing has been getting into all sorts of trouble. Always nice when a piece tells a story. I of course gave him his big spiky horns, which set him apart from the slow version, which does not have horns, after which I modeled the new mouth bit, because of course it's different. We don't want any accidental convenience here, do we? In studying my source material, I discovered that the armor is really just a repurposed paladin charger crossed with a dead horse. If this was a retail mount, this would be an embarrassing display of laziness only modern Blizzard would pull. But this is a classic mount, so we will instead applaud them for showing the kind of continuity only true passion can produce, and that you will only find in classic WoW, because that's how this works. Don't blame me. I'm just a small YouTuber trying to pander to 34-year-old men. It's not audience capture when I preemptively surrender. That aside, this shot of me modeling the skull, oh lord almighty. I wish my whole video looked like this. I have absolutely not a clue if this is as satisfying to watch for other people, or if it's just, you know, I'm a 3D artist, but this looks so nice. That said, interesting little fact for you folks at home. You remember this Mountain Legion, right? Well, according to the game files, or at least the name this model has in the game files, it's a remake of the Undead Warhorse. I certainly won't say that I can't see it, because I do, but it does definitely take its liberty. Still an insanely cool mount that I have exactly 0 variants of. Anyway, one of the last things for me to do was to model the backside of the armor. Like I said, this mount is basically a modified version of the Paladin mounts from Classic WoW. Some of you might know that I did in fact remake those mounts a long time ago. So you might be wondering, why don't I just reuse some elements from that remake and save myself all this time? Well, when I first considered updating the Undead mounts a very long time ago, that was my plan. However, doing so would not yield me very interesting footage for the video. And looking back, everything I did back then more or less looks like dog shit to me now. And I don't think I'm all that wrong there, so either my skills have not progressed at all, or these reused elements would stand out like a sore thumb from the rest of it. After the modeling was done, I had to, of course, UV unwrap it, do the rigging, after which our spicy new Warhorse looks something like this. Sublime. I like ending my videos on an unnecessarily long ramble, and I have a lot of footage to narrate over, so I want to address an increasingly common misconception. Mostly, it's in good faith, but a few people have actually come at me quite hard, telling me I'm bullshitting my audience and deceiving people. I'll happily take criticism, but you better know what you're talking about if you're gonna be so mean about it. That said, I feel like it's worth clearing this up. The idea is basically that I'm making 3D models that, yes, might look nice, but that this is the easy part, and that making nice looking models that are also usable for games, that is where it suddenly takes skill. All I can say is, that is not how it works, especially in the modern day. It's true that optimization is an additional challenge in game art, but generally speaking, my models roughly use the poly count of modern WoW assets. And especially with stylized hand-painted art like I do, there's very little you can do to cheat your way to nice looking results. Compare it to a Disney animation. It's not like making a beautiful scene in 720p is easy, but doing it in 4K, that's where it gets hard. No, sure there might be some limits there, but it's basically the same scene. Likewise, an ugly hand-painted model with shitty shape is still gonna be just that, even if it uses a million polygons. Higher texture resolutions would actually make it look worse, not better. Kinda like when I bought a new phone and opened up the front-face camera for the first time. I want to stress again, most people are not hostile about this in the slightest, and I absolutely do get where the confusion comes from. If it was so simple that this random idiot on YouTube could do it for a video, then surely Blizzard, as a multi-dollar company, would have done it already. The answer to that is, it's not simple for me either. If the art for this video alone was a commission I was doing, everything included, you'd probably be looking at 4 figures. It is true that the texture resolution you see in my models is far higher than the ones in-game. This is really just because I showed them from very close to my reveals, unlike the models in WoW. Blizzard downscales their textures before implementing. I just skipped that last step. If I didn't, this is what my Mimran's head would look like. Less crisp, but really, same model. Point is, I ain't cheating, okay? I try to make all my models so that they could hypothetically go right into WoW, because I feel like it makes the whole thing way cooler, and however good, or indeed bad, you think my models are, is very much reflective of what I can do as a games artist. I could have addressed this in 4 sentences, but I figured I might as well try to give some more perspective, and I like talking too much. So yeah, I'm not deceiving you. These are game-ready assets, at least they better be, or that intern is fired. Big fat thank you to my beautiful patrons. And special shout out to the new patrons. Dude Retro, Tim Gunn, and Morbid Rainbow. And as always, special shout out to the Ultra Mega Chats, Tombo Jimbo, Dinkeldork, and Mimi Yaga. You guys are awesome. Ooh, special announcement. I recently hit 50,000 subscribers. First of all, thank you all enormously. Second of all, I'm doing a Q&A to celebrate. And if you have any questions you would like answered, leave them in the comments.